am living for this look. This look is so beautiful. It's smoky. It's a pop of color. Yes. And the Blends Bunny Primal palette did not come to play. So let's jump in. Hey everybody, this is Ashleigh. Welcome on back to my channel. So today I have 3 looks using the Blends Bunny Primal palette. I actually kind of feel weird just only doing 3 looks because usually with the Blends Bunny products, I usually do like 4 and 5 looks, but hey, time, you know, I keep telling y'all, time has not been my friend lately. But nonetheless, this is the gorgeous, gorgeous Primal palette by Blends Bunny Cosmetics that just released. And the palette is actually still available. Before I get carried away, let me go ahead and introduce myself. If you are new to this channel, welcome. And if you're oldie but goodie, welcome on back. My name is Ashleigh. I have a doctorate in pharmacy and I love makeup. So that's how you get Dr. Ash and her makeup. And eyeshadow really is my jam. But please just call me Ash or Ashleigh. So as I just mentioned, we have the Blends Bunny Cosmetics Primal palette. Gorgeous, gorgeous packaging with the Primal being unbossed. So you got some holographic and just the imagery. I think that this is my favorite packaging thus far when it comes to the brand. And I like how they kind of keep their packaging just like truncated. They don't waste a lot of space. And I love how they lay out their palettes. I am not a rainbow palette type of gal, but for them, I am. So when it comes to this palette, they don't want you to think of it as just another rainbow palette. Like, does it look similar to their other palette, Blends, which was their first palette? Absolutely, okay? But this palette is more of like an artistry palette. She had this in mind for people who do a lot of intricate looks. You know, the girls on Instagram just slaying with the double 50 cut creases and all the beautiful, colorful looks. So this is actually meant to fill in the gaps, and that was her intent when she created this palette. Let me show you the palette. Let's see the first one so you know what I'm talking about. So this is the original palette that just kind of like changed the game, and even I bought it and I was like, everybody keeps saying this is great, I'm gonna try it out. And it was like the mattes are matting. They are here to do what they're supposed to do. So yes, it's going to look somewhat similar, but definitely I think that the shades are different. Different tones, different variations. But the thing about it, when it comes to the Blends Bunny formula, you actually see the variations in the color when you apply them. Now, you do have a row of shimmers in this particular palette, and recently they did update their shimmer formula, and I'll talk about that as I'm presenting the looks. So another change to the layout, you actually only have 3 rows of matte. Usually you have 4 to 5 rows of mattes, 1 row of shimmers, or in their Dollhouse palette, they had 2 rows of shimmers, 1 at the top, 1 at the bottom. But noticeably what is different down here at the bottom, they have 1 large white, 1 large black, and that is meant for people to go ahead and play and create. And I think they got some feedback that those are some of the shades that they run out of the quickest. So it kind of makes sense in that regard if you're using the palette in that artistry mode. But we have beautiful, beautiful color story right here, and I have 3 looks for you. Now, a few things about the palette. The palette does appear to be still in stock, and this information I'm getting from the Blends Bunny Cosmetics website. The palette does actually retail for $43. Now, you might say it's a little bit on the higher end. I don't think it's too much, but it is definitely a little bit on the higher end. But the quality of the Blends Bunny products I find have just been amazing, and I don't mind paying at this price point. And I do believe there are some promo codes out there floating around. They do offer things like Afterpay. They have fast USPS shipping. That hasn't been an issue. The customer service has always been great. Now, when it comes to the ingredient list, you can find the updated list on the website. And the owner of Blends Bunny Cosmetics was actually somebody who was a makeup artist and wanted to create like perfect palettes and have something for people who were just like beginners, they're pro artists, or just makeup enthusiasts. Now, on the back, it actually does say that the palette is vegan. It looks like it is has the cruelty-free. It's good for 12 months if you're going to, once you open a product, excuse me. And then the package is recyclable. The palette net weight is 1.13 ounces or 32 grams. And and the palette is made in China. You can find that information right here on the back, as well as you do have this beautiful Uta carton that the palette comes with. And then it has a layout of the palette on the back with ingredients of the palette and the same information about being cruelty free and vegan. Now, there is a warning about this palette having pressed pigments, and some of the pigments, which according to US law may not be suitable for the eye area. Now, what the thing about the pressed pigments is, it's just saying that, you know, hey, this may or may not cause staining, and it could be irritant to your eyes. So you just have to kind of know what's for you. A lot of times you find that with the shades that are more red based for sure. So definitely I did use the shade warning. I had a very small amount of staining, but it did go away. Reds, oranges, sometimes the purples, and even the blues can cause some type of staining. So let's go ahead, let's jump in, because I got 3 looks for you and I can't wait to show them off, and I am loving this look. This look is making me excited about makeup. Yes. All right, let's get started. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Eyebrows filled in using my Goof Proof pencil, shade 3.75. Then I have my Urban Decay Primer Potion, and this is in the shade Caffeine. Now, let's go ahead and get started. I am back. Had a little outfit change. So as I was applying my foundation, which is the Pat McGrath foundation, some splattered on my shirt. So I looked down and I had all these little brown specks on my little tank top. But I wanted to show you, so if ever you have any type of foundation on your clothes, any type of makeup, put a little Dawn on there and then throw it in the washing machine. Works like a charm. That way the grease will loosen up that's in the oil product. It's not really grease, but the oil products that's in your foundation will loosen up and you can go ahead and get that out very easily. I like both of my looks. My eye is doing the reverse tear thing. So if you see where the shadow is kind of separating and it's a different shade right there, it's because my tear is going up. It's doing that little funky thing where it mixes with the primer. Yikes. But this shade, Mimic, I love it. It's a beautiful blurple periwinkle shade. I think it is so pretty. Everything blended just like I thought it would. I have had like the best experiences using the Blends Bunny Blends palette, the Surge palette, the Dow House palette, is my jam, and now Primal. So this is just really beautiful. This shade right here, I didn't have any problem with any of these blending. They gave great gradients. The shimmers were actually really nice too. I believe she reformulated the shimmers. So the shimmers, I decided to go in with my finger on the purple shade, which is called Pheromone, because I wanted a light application of a shimmer. And I knew if I got a brush, it was just going to go too far because I know myself. Now, when I apply Potent though, oh my gosh, just very creamy, very metallic, very no muss, no fuss, very smooth, creamy bodied foil shimmer. Same with the shade right here, which is called Regal with the gold. Now, what you probably would say is like these shades are actually easier to formulate, which is true. These shades are technically easier to formulate as a shimmer. But in my experience with the few palettes that I have, well, I have all of her palettes at this particular time, with the Dow House palette, those shimmers, even though those are shades that should probably be easier, they're a little stickier. They kind of move in the pan. I have to usually put in a little bit more effort to work those shimmers. The same with the Surge palette. So, I appreciate the effort. I appreciate the blend, the color range, the differentiation of the color. It's always great. This shade Warning, I'm sure it's going to be a little bit of staining because it's kind of like a watermelon hot pink type of shade. Was really beautiful, but really nice with this shade Lethal. So on this eye, I wanted to show where I can get, kind of like an everyday look where you don't have to be so intimidated by all the colors in the palette. And then this eye, I wanted to do something more fun. I love doing kind of like matte looks when it comes to using her palettes. For this eye, I opted to go in with my Black Coffee liner. This is from Pat McGrath Labs. For this eye right here, I took my Amethyst liner. This is a dual chrome liner by Danessa Myrick. Let me just give you a little sample of what she looks like, so you can see. So it shows up every so faintly. It's not like a huge pigmented liner. I would say you do get nice color payoff, but I thought it would work really nice with these particular shades. My bronzer, you already know the deal. Going in with the Decay bronzer by Kosmetics. I went ahead and took my blush by Pat McGrath Labs. I went in with Cherish. Cherish is just, our standard pink blush. And I went with this blush because it tends to look nice with whatever type of makeup you're using. And then I also followed up with the highlights with her. And this is Golden Nectar, one of my favorite highlights. This is the one. Always tread lightly because you see. Now I went from foundation to highlighter on my shirt. Okay, I think I prefer highlighter on my shirt. Crumbled up highlighter. So I dropped this Something Serious, and although this formula is a lot softer, so it's not hard for it to break on you, but I've pressed it. It works well. I didn't want to buy another one, So that's that. What else did I use? Oh, went in with one of my favorite lippies for sure by Beauty. This is the shade Glace. So I just have that on my lips with no lip liner. So I don't know what colors I'm gonna use next. I feel like I'm gonna do the blues because she doesn't have really any blues in her other palettes. So I'm curious to see, although this right now is reading more blurple, but I think it's gonna be blue. So I'm gonna kind of maybe play in this, and I might pop into some green. We'll see. You know I'm good for greens. But, oh, what I wanted to say when I made a face. Okay, so I went in with the shade Pray because I wanted to have a little yellow with this red, but I didn't really particularly care for that particular shade with that. So I jumped in with a little Rome and Nectar and just kind of fixed the blend right there when I was blending out that outer crease. So that's why I was looking funny, but the look was able to be safe. Oh my gosh, this shade is just so pretty. This eye is so pretty. Classic sunset. I'm rambling. Let's go ahead and jump into another look. I'll be right back. Yes, I'm back. Look number 3, and whew, this is so pretty. So I don't know if this is, it looks blue, but I'm getting still purple vibes, but this is gorgeous. I love this look so much. I think everything just blended out just the way I expected it to. It's deep, it's bright, it's pop of color. I think it just came out really gorgeous, and I love it. I like putting the little shimmer here because with the blends palettes, you just have so many different unique mattes that I like showcasing the mattes. Also because, you know, we have these more pastel shades, and the pastel shades, you know, they are just great for lid shades to transition some of these deeper shades out, especially if you're a person who's deeper like me, and you're like, that's not going to look great on me. But just to know that you can use them in a different way, it just kind of opens up all these color combinations. Now, this palette is absolutely gorgeous. I'm really happy to have it in my collection. And of course, you know, it's definitely going to pull resemblance to, let's say, the original blends palette. So, and even maybe Surge, just a few things. So I just pulled them out. So I do have these 3 palettes right here. This was the first one. This was the blends palette, the original more rainbow palette. The second one was Surge, which is, I don't know, these two, like, they're my jam. And then I have Dollhouse. So Dollhouse was actually gifted to me. So first I'm going to open up the blends palette. So let's see. Got blends here along This is the blends palette. As you can see, there aren't any shimmers in this particular palette. And actually, you do have a couple more rolls of mattes because you have 5 rolls in this one versus just having the 4 with the 2 large shades down at the bottom with the white and the black. And these palettes, you know, a lot of times they're really made for people who do very intricate, you know, colorful looks. So I'm not mad at it. Everybody needs their own thing. So here we go. Let's see if I can hold them both together because you know. You know. So there we go. So these are the 2 shades. So of course, they're going to look very similar. Do I see the differences in color? Yes. Do I know there is a difference in color? Yes, because I've worked with these palettes quite a bit. And I actually forgot. Okay, so there are a couple of like actual blues here. I usually use Surge the most. So you do have blue here and a blue here. You got your teal and aquamarines palette. And then that's what I like about these palettes because even though they're rainbow, it's still something for everybody rather. And you have like your transitions. You got your traditional transitions. You got your pops of colors. And you have your browns. You have your mustards, blacks, grays, you know, things that you do. This is the original one. So now we're going to jump back over to Primal. So Primal, we have the addition of the shimmers. The shimmers in this palette are so great. I think they're definitely better than the shimmers in Surge. Definitely better than the shimmers in Dollhouse. They're just not pressed as hard. They're very creamy, very emollient. Lay on the eyes, very nice. You get a nice shine. Like I said, I just opted to use my finger with this particular time because I did not want a heavy layer. I wanted the matte to just shine, but I wanted the little extra like, okay? So it's the palette here. So it's definitely meant to fill in the gaps. So I can see where she's going with that. So you have to kind of decide, like, is that something for you? Do you want a fill in the gaps person? Now I can see like if you maybe wanted just one of the palettes and you weren't sure between having, you know, maybe blends and having Primal, I would maybe just go, and you're a person like, I'm not going to use these rainbow shades a whole lot. I would just maybe just go with Primal, you know, because I think you can make it work with this particular one. Plus you're going to get some shimmers. But if you want a more complete rainbow, you can go with the blends. I guess I just didn't really make it any different for you or any easier. But I definitely see where she was filling in the gaps, you know, here. So there are differentiations between the colors. Also, I'm going to hold up Surge. Now, Surge is just a little different all the way around. It's very much more grungy. You definitely have your neon shades. You got your pastels at the top. And you can see this palette's been used and abused, loved heavily. Really enjoy this section of the palette, the purples. You see how it's just so different between even the blues. They're very grungy, very murky shades, not the traditional sense of a rainbow palette, and that's what makes it stand out. And even the shimmer shades that coincide with the Surge palette, you know, are a little different also. So here are the 2 together right here. So I don't think there's many comparisons in here, you know. So of course some things are going to look similar. That's just the way it is. And then I will definitely hold up the Dollhouse palette. But the Dollhouse palette is by far very much a neutral palette. I have a lot of fun with this palette. This palette was in my favorites of this year because I always reach for this palette, just especially when I'm using a lot of my single shadows, like my Terra Moons and my Glam Shop shadows. Those are my favorite single shadows. And I love my Terra Moons multi-chromes. So I'm always using those. So there's no type of, you know, similarities. But I would definitely say that the quality has improved so much with the shimmers. You could just tell immediately because a few of the shimmers in this particular Dollhouse palette were just a little hard pressed and hard to work with. So I think this is a gorgeous palette. I love it. I mean, like I said, I just feel like it just provides a lot of option. The packaging is just gorgeous. I think Surge was my favorite packaging at one point with this brick wall with this neon, but I think the packaging for Primal is just, it's just really, really cute. She really outdid herself with this packaging. I like the butterflies and I like how Primal is raised, and it's kind of like a dual chrome embossed and has some holographic natures to it. Yeah, with the little leopard print in the back and the nice florals. Really, really pretty and sleek. So that's what I do like about her palettes also, is that, you know, they're not too big and too bulky, even though they are larger palettes. You know, it's like they're easy to store. It's nothing out of hand when it comes to these particular palettes. You know, sometimes you have palettes like this and they're rainbow and they're just big and they're large and it's out of control. I find that I can store these rather easily. Now, where I'm going to store them, I don't know, but that's my problem because I just have too many palettes. Even though I haven't really bought a lot of palettes this year. All right, so in my opinion, yes, I would pick this up. But you have to, you know what your preferences are. If you're going to use these particular shades a lot, I do reach into these palettes. I think the one I probably haven't reached in as much lately is Blends, and that's only because I think I've just been so fixated on using the Dollhouse palette. But this is something that I definitely pull out. I pull them out all the time when I'm dealing with my single shadows. And I try to use my single shadows at least once or twice a week now, you know, just to keep them in the mix. So let me know what your favorite look is. This right here is my favorite look. My second favorite look will actually be the first look I did on this side, and then the gorgeous sunset look. So leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Did you pick this up? Give this video a big old thumbs up. Hit the notification bell so you know when I come out with another video, and subscribe to my channel because you know I would love to have you here in my little makeup family. And with that already being said, you already know what time it is. It's time for the chair dance. Chair dance. Hey, 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 chair dance. Chair dance. Chair dance. Ayy, chair dance. Ayy. All right, y'all. Bye.